So, what I'm doing here is going to be organizing all of the areas from Dark Souls 2 based on how difficult they are, or how difficult I found them, and how fun I found them on a first playthrough of the game. I've done similar things for Dark Souls 1 areas and bosses. You can check them out, see what I thought of those. Neither of these is what I think are the best or what are my favorites. I will talk about what are my favorites. Best is hard to objectively say. I may touch on it what I think they are, but I'm not going to worry too much about that one. The higher up it is, the more difficult it is. The further right, the more fun it is. If it's anything like Dark Souls 1, the best areas and my favorite areas are top right. The worst are top left. There won't be many in bottom right, and the bottom left areas are just all the ones that you kind of just forget about and just run through or don't have anything. But no, I think we're pretty much ready to get going. We're going mostly in chronological order, a bit of slightly different things. Only other thing of note maybe, I guess spoilers for Dark Souls 2. I'll talk about the areas unscrupulously. I'm not really talking about bosses in this one, because I don't really consider that part of the area for most of it. I'll talk about what I do consider the area for some of the weird ones, like Cave of the Dead, for a lot of the DLC stuff too. And this does include DLC, unlike Dark Souls 1, because I played the DLC at this one. Also, since it might matter, this is Scholar of the First Sin version. I know there's some differences, so that's the version I have as a frame of reference. Let's start with Things Betwixt. Things Betwixt was interesting. It has like the little hog enemies, and that's before you get to the witch hut. And then in the witch hut, you talk to witches, whatever, and then you go in this tutorial area, and it was fine. There's also the shiny nest. It just took too long, and the coffin you changed genders in. I don't know. Things Betwixt was kind of just like whatever. Difficulty not. Like I think it's about bottom. Pretty low on fun. Not unfun. Like it just wasn't like an area that made me hate it. There are definitely a few of those. I think areas there's more of those in this game than in Dark Souls 1. Next is Majula. This is the hub area. Again, not really much to fight here. So it's definitely going to be higher and pretty low in difficulty as well. I think there's less to fight here. I think this is lower in difficulty. There's nothing here. So it's going to be a bottom of difficulty. How fun is it? It's kind of interesting. You can explore around a bit. There's that one house that's kind of cool to explore. There's a cat. I like cats. I'll put it here for fun. That may completely change. Forest of Fallen Giants. This is the first interesting one because it's a big one. This is a really big area. There's a lot here. The first part is kind of fun, not too difficult. The next part's more difficult. Still fairly fun, I think. It ends with like the pursuer fight in that area. Honestly, this area is pretty fun. It's gonna be pretty far on the right. Difficulty-wise, tough, but fair. I'm gonna put it in the middle. I'm gonna put it in the middle for difficulty. These will probably change much more later. Hyde's Tower of Flame. Also, I should note, I'm going through these a bit quicker than Dark Souls 1 because there's more. I don't want this to take forever. Unfortunately, I have other things to do. Hyde's Tower of Flame. Yeah, no, I think this is the most difficult area in the game for me. I know I did this entire, like, I did everything in Hyde's. I fought both bosses before a single boss in Forest. But it was just so brutal. Was it fun? No. It was unfun because of how difficult it was. It's no Tomb of Giants where the concept is unfun. It's just unfun. So I think that's fair. Get that out of the way. No Man's Wharf. I found this area way too late. Hence I said I beat Hyde's. So the first two bosses I beat were both the ones in Hyde's Tower of Flame. I don't think that's the intended order of bosses. No Man's Wharf I found after I had 3 Lord Souls, was it? Let me quickly check. I had not done Iron Keep. Had I? Yeah, no, I had 3 of the Lord Souls when I did No Man's Wharf. So I found it pretty easy. Fun? Kind of cool. You lit some stuff up. I think it's about on par with Majula, but I found it pretty easy because I went through it so late, and because I did hides so early, it's way further up than it probably should be. Huntsman, I also did Huntsman really early because I beat Dragon Rider, then did all of Huntsman except the boss. Found the boss, said this looks too hard, went back to hides, beat old Dragon Slayer, and then realized there was stuff, in Forest of Fallen Giants to do. Not No Man's Wharf, I didn't realize that one yet. When did I do the rest? When did I actually fight the boss? I don't know, it was sometime after, like, 1 or 2 lords. But Huntsman was very tough because of that, but it wasn't absurd difficulty. It was very tough, though. It was a bit of fun, too. There were some cool parts of Huntsman. I honestly think it was more fun, but very difficult. I think that's a good spot for it. And that's, again, the difficulty mostly because I went there early, but I don't actually see those guys who jump hiding on top of pillars ever really being easy. So there's a point for that still being very difficult. Lost Bastille. This is tough again. There's a lot of big guys here. There's some tough parts of this. It's not as tough as these two. And I did it very early as well. Again, before No Man's Wharf. Like I did, I think, Hides, Forest, Huntsman, Bastille were my first, 4 areas I did. So I did this very early. With that, first areas with enemies. Very early. There were some cool parts, like when you send the barrel down to unlock the bonfire. The other barrel do knock down to blow things up. I think those cool things put it pretty high on the fun scale, too. But also some of the stuff like the enemies on the way to the Ruined Sentinels, they're tough. The Pursuer finding you a few times. It's tough, but fun. Is this... Hold up. Why is the forest fun? This is a cool area. I think Bastille's the most fun of these. Alright, Sinner's Rise. Sinner's Rise isn't fun. It's not fun wading through water. It's not fun waiting for an elevator. It's toughish, but it's not fun. Sure. Belfry Luna. That's what the gargoyles. That was honestly pretty inconsequential. Sinner's Rise, I can at least, I'll put Belfry Luna a little bit more fun, because, honestly, Sinner's Rise I'll put there. I think Belfry Luna was inconsequential, things betwixt. Also fairly easy. Again, I did Belfry Luna extremely late. I think I had done some of the DLC before I did... No, I beat every single main game boss except one when I did Belfry Luna. The gargoyles were one of the last bosses I did. So I'll put it... Actually, the whole area was really easy. Because this isn't bosses, this is area. I think this is easier than No Man's Wharf. So I'll put that. I'll do that. The pit. Just falling down the pit and the very little stuff at the bottom. Comparable, I think, to the first game, The Great Hollow. Much easier than The Great Hollow. Much easier. So it's... I think here. I think it's easier than Luna. Fun-wise, it's kind of cool. I enjoyed hopping down the pit. It wasn't amazing. I'll put it there. Grave of Saints. A lot of rats. That's about it. Pretty easy. I think, Belfry Luna level. Coolness. That's a Pharaoh's Lockstone is used to unlock stuff. Not bad, but, eh. I think it goes there. A lot of stuff on the easy side so far. It's because these are, a lot of these, these 3 areas I visited later than you should. That's why they're so easy, I think. The Gutter. The Gutter. It's a lot better than Tomb of Giants. But it's unfun. This area is absolutely unfun. How difficult is it? It's tough, but... I think it's a bit tougher than Sinner's Rise. But not as tough as Lost Bastille. There we go. That seems fair. Black Gulch. I think Black Gulch is easier than Gutter. Is it easier than Sinner's Rise? I think it's a bit tougher. Fun-wise, it's another unfun area, isn't it? I didn't find it just as annoying as Sinner's Rise. I think that's fair, actually. Doing that. Doors of Pharaohs. Here we go. Here's an area that I can talk about positively. This area was tough, but not unfair. More like Forest of Fallen Giants level difficulty. I'll put it a bit below it, I think, but because I didn't die much there. The Pharaoh's lockstones were kind of cool. How it was using them for traps and stuff. Actually, that was really cool. I think this is the most fun area so far. It wasn't like amazing fun, so I'm not putting it beyond the scale. Not like this one. But I think it was a lot of fun. So I think Doors of Pharaohs earns its spot at the far right. Harvest Valley. Honestly, how you do poison correctly. Not swamp, mist. That was really cool. I think Harvest Valley was poisonous, and that made it tough. What made it tougher were the enemies. Honestly, the enemies here are higher difficulty, lower fun. The poisons, this area, the enemies are this area. But not that difficult. I think it's about Black Gulch difficulty. You're getting poisoned. You can generally avoid it, but you're getting poisoned. With some tough enemies. Why is Black Gulch that high up on difficulty? That's better. You know, it's tougher than Black Gulch, who am I kidding? Gutter is comparable. I think that's about right. Shaded Woods. So this area's got a lot of stuff again. Because it's got... The first area is brutal, with just the doors opening and everybody swarming out. And after that, it's not too bad for a bit. And there's the Mist Forest, which is just weird and not fun. Then there's the entrance to Shrine of Winter, which I'll more count Shrine of Winter, but that's just negligible. There's not much there. And then there's the area at the Minotaurs and the Cursed Dolls and stuff. And that area I like. So it's got some really unfun parts, some really meh parts, and some fun parts. It's got some really hard parts, some no easy parts. I think it's about on par with Harvest Valley. But tougher or harder than Harvest Valley? Tougher or easier? Sorry, difficulty-wise. More or less fun? I think just because it's a start, it's less fun. Earthen Peak. This is an interesting one. This is right after Harvest Valley. And kind of climbing up, I didn't hate. It was tough. Didn't hate it. I really need to lower Black Gulch in difficulty. Black Gulch wasn't tough to get through. Why did I put it there? Sinner's Rise is about that difficult to get through. Gutter's fair. Gutter's fair up there. Earthen Peak. Hold on. Whoa, whoops. I didn't mean to do that. I just realized, why are Belfry Luna and, like, things betwixt comparable with, like, those? Earthen Peak. It was tough, but fair. This area. Some poison stuff that was annoying to deal with. So generally unfun. Not as good as Harvest Valley. Better than Shaded Woods. That seems about right. Brightstone Cave. This area was tough. Brightstone Cave was really tough. There were a few parts of it that just kept kicking my ass. Was it fun? The zipline was cool. The room with all the spiders was cool. The ending wasn't. Not as good as Harvest Valley. I'll put it here. Huntsman Copse needs to be... no. I think that's a good comparer. I think Brightstone Cave is not as good as Huntsman Copse. Or not as fun as Huntsman Copse. But very difficult. Like it. Iron Keep. I love Iron Keep. It was a lot of fun for me. Because you get in there and you're like, okay, this is interesting. You fight a bunch of invaders, and I don't mind fighting invaders. Usually they're tough one-on-one fights. And that's exactly what they were. You fight some knights that aren't too bad. And then you're doing almost platforming, but not difficult platforming. Just platforming. Like, oh, I need to do a jump here. Okay. And then you're unlocking levers to move the platforms. This is Lost Bastille level, I think. Of fun. I think this is up there on fun. Difficulty? Now, I did do this area later. This was the last lord I fought. So I think it fits about here for difficulty. Harder than Earthen Peak, easier than Harvest Valley. But very fun like Lost Bastille. Belfry Soul. Belfry Soul was kind of cool. Pretty easy. I'll put it around here for difficulty, I think. Kind of cool. Not very cool. I think I need to move Harvest Valley further right. Yeah, that's better for Harvest Valley. Harvest Valley was fun. Drangelic Castle. Drangelic Castle was cool. It was no Anor Londo. I can't pretend it was Anor Londo. But it was cool. The way you get in took me a while to figure out. I killed a lot of those guys. But it was cool. It was a cool way to get in. And once you learned that, you got to keep using it, which was nice. And I quite liked. So that's good. Exploring it wasn't too tedious. There weren't really shortcuts, unfortunately. And no really interactive stuff. I think it's between Forest and those. And difficulty? I think it's about level of Iron Keep. It was tough, but I expected tougher. Put a bit lower than Iron Keep, actually, for difficulty. I don't know if I died there. To non-fall damage. I must have, but... No, I think that's a good spot for it for difficulty. Maybe easier. Was it easier than Forest of Fallen Giants? Yes. It was. Black Gulch seems like a good comparator for difficulty. Fun, though. It was pretty fun. Shrine of Amana. Forgot about this one. I'm glad I forgot about it, because, what is there that you could consider fun here? I don't know. What is there that you can consider easy here? The initial walk down? The initial walk down was a bit of both. Okay, no. I think that's a good spot for Shrine of Amana. Not fun. Not the worst, but not fun. At all. It's the start of unfun. And it's very difficult. But it's just very difficult. Undead Crypt. I like Undead Crypt. I love the mechanic with the bells. It was tough. But it was, I liked Undead Crypt a lot, actually. Not as much as Drangelic. It was not as hard as Huntsman Copes. Not as hard as Lost Bastille. Here we go. Here's the difficulty it was at. And it was... Forest levels of fun. Yeah. I think that's a good spot for the crypt. Dark Chasm of Old. This is the area for the Dark Lurker. Now, I did this very late. And it was still tough. Not brutal, but tough. So I think it's going to go Lost Bastille point. And it wasn't fun. I think it's about the same as Shrine of Amana, just easier. Aldia's Keep. Oh, this area. This area was kind of cool. Not very difficult. But kind of cool. The part where... Actually, this area is really cool. Because there's not much happening. This dragon skeleton's kind of cool to walk around. And then... one of the giant rhino kind of like standing on two leg things gets out, and then another gets out, and then another. And then it's really cool. And terrifying. Still wasn't actually that hard. I think Drangelic Castle is a good comparator, where you feel like it should be hard, but it's not. Fun-wise, I think is it that level? I think it beats Drangelic. Does it beat these two, though? I think Iron Keep moves up a bit, but the others stay there. Dragon Airy. So the way you're getting over to the dragon stuff. Ziplining's cool. Dragons were pretty easy to fight. Sarah was pretty easy, actually. I'm putting it a note with No Man's Dwarf. But fun-wise, I think between Drangelic and Aldius. Actually, no, with Drangelic. Drangelic was cool to explore. What was this? Pit? Yeah, no, Pit's between these areas. Dragon Shrine. So the second half, like at the end of Dragon area when you're just going up. It was fine. It was fair. Move you up a bit, but I think that's about right for Dragon Shrine, right in the middle. The memories. So I just combined all the memories into one. Because that's much easier to do. This is also the last base game area. If you don't know the DLC, this is the last one. The memories were kind of interesting. You guys were. They weren't really fun. They were more like Huntsman Cove Harvest Valley fun. Where like that was done well, nothing special. Difficulty wise, I think about this level. Dragon Shrine's a bit easier. I think actually Dragon Shrine's easier than Sinner's Rise and Doors. Alright, so this is the base game. In the base game, Hides is far and away the one I found toughest and least fun. Doors of Pharos was the most fun, like Iron Keep, Aldi's Keep, and Lost Bastille. I think for a base game, I think I'm happy with how that pretty much is. I'm not gonna 100% go through it all, make sure, because I want to do DLC first. So, the DLC. And I decided to order the DLC, Sunken King, Iron King, Frozen King. Or whatever the names are. Starting off with Shulva Sanctum City. It's a big area. Got some interactive stuff, but not very fun interactive. I'll be honest. Difficulty? It was tough. Maybe Iron Keep level. Here, maybe? I don't think it was executed that well for what it was. I'm putting it there. Dragon Sanctum. This is the area with the ghost people you can't hurt, and then the sarcophagi you need to break open. Honestly, I found it easier than the first part. Better part of memories. For fun, though, I like this area. This area was cool. It was still tough, though. At times. Is it this high up on fun? I need to extend my funometer to the right. Give me 1 second. I need to rearrange a bit. So it's a bit easier to spread things out. Especially for fun. Let's line these up on the right. On the left side, sorry. I'm gonna group everything else. Spread it out fun-wise. Perfect. Group. I hit ungroup. Just let me shrink these a bit. I'll shrink them. I'll worry about shrinking them a bit. So, but I think this is pretty. This is a lot clearer for fun on where the scales are. Dragon Sanctum. Yeah, I think difficulty-wise is right around memories area. Fun-wise, I think Forest of Fallen Giants is a good one to compare it to. So I'm gonna put it right there. Hold on, I need to send this back. Oh, Bajula also disappeared when I did that. Oh, Bajula was less fun than that. put it here in the middle, I think, with Jula. I don't remember where Jula was, but I think in the middle's a good spot for it. Next up is the Dragon's Rest. This is the bottom area, and honestly, it's a pretty forgetful part of it. It wasn't that fun, it wasn't that unfun. So I think it kind of, like, for fun, sits around the middle. Difficulty, it wasn't that difficult, so I think it's going to go just below Dragon Shrine. Actually, if I'm thinking, comparing it to Dragon Shrine, though, I think, yeah, around Dragon Shrine is about right. No Man's Wharf was easy. And a bit more fun. Belfry Soul was very forgettable. There we go, now it says Dragon's Rest. So next up is the Cave of the Dead. This is kind of the gauntlet area of this DLC. And it was fine. It was tough, but not brutal. It wasn't very fun. So fun-wise, I think lower side. Toughness. I'm gonna put it just barely not unfun. Difficulty, a bit easier than that. Brume Tower. Okay, so now we're into the second DLC, the Iron one. This was an interesting one. Because Broom Tower's most of it. It's got a lot going on in Broom Tower. Also, I think I finally got them all down to size. It's good. Broom Tower is really fun. There's a lot to it, and a lot of moving parts that work well. It's brutal. So it's up here. Is it Doors to Pharaoh's fun? Yes. Honestly, I think this is the most fun area. Difficulty? I think it's Shrine of Amana difficult. I'm going to move this further to the right so we have our benchmark of what is the most fun. Also spread things out a bit more. Iron Passage. Okay, no, I need to move things down a bit in terms of difficulty. So Iron Passage was very difficult, with elements of fun. I kind of like the run through everybody. The other way wasn't fun at all. So I'm going to be nice and give Iron Passage that highest score on fun. Memories of the Old Iron King. Oh my gosh, I forgot how brutal this DLC was as a whole. I mean, it was harder than the Iron Passage. I think this was Heidi's difficult. And fun? Almost Heidi's fun, too. I think that's about right for Memory of the Old Iron King. Frozen Elysium Lois. Another fairly big area that you went through a few times. I think Frozen Elysium Lois was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. It was tough. Especially the, one of the areas. Heart of the Broom Tower? Yes. Shrine of Amana? I think about the same. Okay, I need to leave you there. So I'm going to put you at the line and you at the line. Because I think those two are the same. Old Chaos. Old Chaos was cool. Tough, but not brutal. I think it's around here for difficulty. Fun-wise, it was just a big boss. It was just a big rush. That was cool. I think that's a good spot for it. Finally, we get the Frigid Outskirts. Welcome to the first thing that I'm not sure fits on the graph. I think that's about right. Difficulty? It's not actually the hardest. It's just the least fun. I think, that's pretty good. I am going to start off... this time, I'm going to start off by fun, because that way I can spread it out more. Usually I go difficulty and make sure it's all correct. Now I'm going to go fun. Broom Tower is the most fun in the game. Doors of Pharos is the next most fun in the game. Iron Keep is absolutely the next most fun. Lost Bastille, Altia's Keep are very fun, and just after that, I think. Frozen Elysium Lois? Actually, I think Drangelic Castle's right behind Altia's Keep. Frozen Elysium Lois, I think, is Lost Bastille Altia's Keep level. That was really cool. I love Frozen Elysium Lois. But that one part makes it worse, so I'm going to put it between those two. Dragonary? Cool. Not as cool as Drangelic Castle. Sanctum? I think beats out the Airy. I'm going to put it just below the castle, though. So now we get a bit more separation. Undead Crypt, I think, is definitely next. Then the Forest of Fallen Giants should come below that. Then the Pitch and Old Chaos. Yeah, that's a good next two. A lot more room on the right here, so I can keep moving things. Whoops. Let's keep that there. Huntsman Copse is next. Yeah, I think that's correct. Then Harvest Valley. Then the Memories. No Man's Wharf. And Iron Passage, yes. I'm also going to spread them out to the left now. Frigid Outskirts, yeah. Hyde, yeah. Gutter, Memory, yes. That's all correct. Sinner's Rise is next as well. And then Black Gulch for sure. And then I think you get these two. They're definitely next. And then Cave of the Dead. And then these two, which are just the most boring. Then Shaded Woods. Yeah, no, Shaded Woods is definitely next. Then Grave of the Saints? Yes. Then Grave of the Saints. Belfry Soul fits in the boring with Grave of Saints. Earthen Peak's a bit better, not much. Brightstone Cove fits with Shaded Woods, actually. That's a fairly unfun area, I'll be honest. Shelva, fair. Dragon Shrine, yeah, I think Dragon Shrine and Shelva fit well. Then I'll separate. Dragon's Rest is a bit worse than Majula, I think. And I think I've got it sorted by fun. Time to go through difficulty. Old Iron King and Hides are brutal. I've perma-killed pretty much every single enemy in both of them. Iron Passage? Very, very difficult. Shrine of Amon and Frozen Elysium Lois? Very difficult. Huntsman Copse, Brightstone Cove, and Broom Tower killed me so many times. Huntsman mostly, partially because I was underleveled. I think those three are the next three, for sure. Frigid Outskirts? Yeah, that's next. That's the... It didn't kill me that many times, but it felt like it did. Then you get, like, Dark Chasm of Old, which was tough. Very tough. And Old Chaos... Old Chaos wasn't that tough. Lost Bastille, though, was. I think Lost Bastille is a bit tougher than Dark Chasm of Old. The area. Not talking about bosses. Just the areas. I'm gonna move Old Chaos down a bit more, too. Then you get the Gutter. The Gutter is tough. Yeah, no, I agree. Gutter stays around with Old Chaos. Shaded Woods, tough. Harvest Valley and Undead Crypt, they're tough. Shelva was difficult. Iron Keep was fun difficult. Yeah, I think these are looking pretty good for where they are in terms of difficulty. Memories. I may need to move these up. These were pretty tough. Nah, not actually. I'm gonna move them up. Dragon Sanctum, also gonna move up. Keeping Iron Keep a bit above them. Iron Keep Solva is a good comparison, yeah. Earthen Peak is about in the middle there, so is Forest, I think. Yeah, I think those two are good. Doors of Pharos was tough. I think that's a good middle one. Dragon Shrine was not that tough, not as tough. Cave of the Dead was not as tough. Sinner's Rise was tough. I think it's actually Earthen Peak, Forest of Fallen Giants level. Black Gulch. I think Cave of the Dead level. Dragon's Rest. Below that, Drangelic Aldiers, I think, can touch that bar. Dragon's Reston, yeah, Belfry Soul. No Man's Wharf will move up a bit. Dragon Airy. I think Dragon Airy with No Man's Wharf makes sense. Pit. Grave of Saints, Belfry Luna? No, Pit's easier than those. So in that case, I think I'm pretty much good. So I think this is my full list. Now, I want to talk about what were my favorite areas. I'm pretty sure you can guess what my 3 least favorite areas were. They stood out like a sore thumb. And that wasn't close. Other areas I hated: Dark Chasm of Old, Brightstone Cove, some parts of Shaded Wood, the gutter. I didn't like Earthen Peak. I didn't. I really didn't like it. Cave of the Dead. Black Gulch I didn't like. Sinner's Rise I didn't like at all. I think of these, Shaded Woods and Shrine of Amana are definitely my 2 favorites. I don't despise Shrine of the Amana, but it wasn't fun, and it was brutal. But eventually, you could just go through it, and you were like, alright, it's fair. Iron Passage, I hated and then didn't hate for a bit, because I found the more fun way of going through, but it was still annoying. That's too high on that list. I think that's better for Iron Passage. Ignore me saying I'm done adjusting. Shova, I didn't hate Shova. Same with most of these ones, I didn't hate them. Drive of Saints is probably my least favorite of these. Grave of Saints, Luna, Soul are my least favorites. I don't really care about Twixt. These ones, a lot of these I don't have opinions of, because I went through them so quickly. Duel is fine. Memories I liked. Harvest Valley, I actually really liked Harvest Valley. Same with Old Chaos. Huntsman Copse, I like despite how brutal it is. Kind of like Frozen LA and Lois. Broom Tower. If I were to look at my absolute favorite areas, I think Iron Keep is my favorite. There's so many fun things about Iron Keep, and I really liked fighting the enemies there. So I think Iron Keep is my favorite area in this game. I think Lost Bastille is a bit too tough for what it is. But the Pursuer is really fun in Lost Bastille. So I think Lost Bastille is up there, but not quite second. I think Broom Tower is better. I like a lot. Doors of Pharos or Broom Tower is second, I think. Maybe Drangelic. Drangelic's actually really high for what I like. I wish it was harder and had a bit more to it, but I really liked it. It was also big, which helped. But no, I think, yeah, Iron Keep's my favorite. After that, maybe Broom and Doors. Then, like, Drangelic. Dragon Sanctum Undead Crypt. Like, Bastille's a bit lower. So is LA and Lois, just because of part of it was so bad. But as a whole, definitely a lot of my favorite ones here. Interesting, more favorite here than here. Because I don't really like Huntsman's Copse. Had some cool stuff I can acknowledge. There are definitely some really fun parts, but it was, as a whole, I didn't like it. Frozen LA and Lois had parts I didn't like a lot. Lost Bastille had parts I didn't like a lot. But as a whole, these sets were really cool. And very fun, I think. But as a whole, I like the very high difficulty less than the moderately high difficulty, which is interesting to analyze. But I think that's it for Dark Souls 2 areas. So you'll have to let me know, everybody, what you would put drastically differently. I didn't rank a few very small areas, such as the Throne of Want, because that's just a boss. And I didn't want to consider bosses in this. That's the next video, where I'll be just doing the Dark Souls 2 bosses. But no, I think that's good. So yeah, let me know what you think. Check out the other videos if you want to see the Dark Souls 1 rankings. I mentioned brief bits, but not too much about them there. But I think that's all for today. Have a great day, everyone.